Welcome back to America Decides. President Trump talked about his administration's record on immigration last night during his joint address to Congress, and he said he had implemented, quote, the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation, we must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Republican Congressman Gabe Evans joins me now. He represents Colorado's 8th Congressional District. Sir, it's good to have you with us. I want to play for you and our audience something you're familiar with. It was from a House Oversight Committee hearing today. There was a presentation by Denver's mayor, Mike Johnston, and then a response from you. Let's play those sound bites back to back.
There is not a single migrant encampment left in the city. We have closed all of our shelters. We have connected people to jobs and housing, and the city's immigrant support budget has dropped by nearly 90%. And in the midst of this, migrants did not bring a wave of crime to Denver. In fact, crime went down.
The statistics that we've gone through in the space of crime show why Denver is specifically cratering in their public safety statistics as compared to major cities around the country.
That's actually false.
I can show you my statistics.
So, Congressman, what are your statistics? Is it just about what the crime rate is in Denver or how it compares with other major cities?
Yeah, so I was a police officer in the Denver metro area for over 10 years. That's a big piece of why I'm in Congress right now, is because I saw the failed policies of leftist leaders like Denver Mayor Mike Johnson. The numbers are, depending on whose database you look at, in Denver this last year there were 65 to 71 homicides. San Francisco, by contrast, a very similarly sized city, had half of that number in terms of homicides. Just 6 years ago, Denver didn't even make the list as far as top 50 most dangerous cities in the country. This year, Denver is currently ranked the 10th most dangerous city in the country. And a huge component of that is the fact that Denver is a sanctuary for violent criminal organizations that are illegally operating in Denver and in Colorado, like the Sinaloa cartel, like the Jalisco cartel, and like Tren de Aragua.
And you have legislation to either take away, if I understand it correctly, or give the federal government more authority in regards to sanctuary state policies and sanctuary city policies in Colorado. Is that correct?
Yeah, so in Denver and in Colorado, state and local law enforcement are not allowed to coordinate with their federal counterparts. As we heard Denver Mayor Mike Johnson say today, even when there are criminal arrests that were made, that was my line of questioning to him was, as a police officer, I know that the standard FBI fingerprint cards, which are taken in custodial arrests, have blocks on there where the question is asked, where was the place of birth and what is the citizenship of the person being arrested? And we've heard that Denver does not fill out those blocks, which then begs the question, how are we going to get violent criminals who have been arrested by Denver Police Department out of the community if Denver does not comply with basic data collection as required by the FBI and a whole host of other issues? We've heard in testimony today how the Denver jails won't hold violent Tren de Aragua members. And so what my legislation, the Uplift Act, does is it breaks down those barriers and it allows state and local law enforcement to be able to work with their federal counterparts to make sure that these violent criminals are identified and removed from our communities.
I want to ask you about something else that was publicized today. A memo at the Veterans Administration suggesting that there would be job cuts of up to 83,000 in the Veterans Administration workforce, taking it back essentially to its size in 2019, before the PACT Act was passed and people were hired in order to administer the benefits therein. Are you comfortable with reductions in workforce at the Veterans Administration of that size?
So I spent 12 years in the U.S. Army. Clearly, I am a military veteran. I come from a long line of military service members. And the question that we need to be asking here is, how do we make sure that we are most efficiently providing the critical services that our veterans deserve and are entitled to? And just this morning, I actually sat down with a major national veteran service organization, and I asked them those specific questions. Have we seen services to veterans interrupted? Have we seen any of those services impaired? And what they told me is that while there's a lot of noise in this space, they have not seen any services to veterans that have been impaired or impacted by this. And as my standard request is always, I ask them, if you hear of any specific situations where benefits directly to veterans are interrupted, please let me know so that we can find out how to prevent that from happening again. But as of just this morning, when I met with major veteran service organizations, they told me they are not aware of any impacts to services to veterans.
Right, but that is before a potential reduction in workforce of 83,000. Are you confident there'll be no loss of services if you take 83,000 veterans or employees out of the Veterans Administration?
The goal, again, is to make sure that our veterans are receiving the benefits to which they are entitled and that they are receiving those as efficiently and as quickly as possible. And so that's something that I'm committed to. That's actually something where I have co-sponsored legislation to make sure that we are preserving the ability of our veterans to receive those services.
Congressman Gabe Evans, thank you, sir.
Thank you.